Great Moravia. The Great Moravian Empire, or simply Moravia, was the first major state that was predominantly Slavonic to emerge in the area of Central Europe. Its core territories were located on the Morava River, which gave its name to the kingdom. Morava in Czech and in Slovak refers to both the river and the historical Margraviate of Moravia, which is now the eastern part of the Czech Republic. The river flows south through the whole of Moravia, forming the present-day border between the Czech Republic and Slovakia before finally becoming the border between Slovakia and Austria. The core of Great Moravia was established, according to legend, in the early 830s, when Prince Margraviate I crossed the Morava and conquered the Principality of Nitra. The former Principality of Nitra was used as the Udalné Zácvo, or the territory given to and ruled by the successor to the throne, traditionally the nephew of the ruling Kneza prince. The extent and location of Great Moravia are a subject of debate. Rival theories place the heart of it either south of the river Danube or on the Great Hungarian Plain. The exact date when the Moravian state was founded is also disputed, but it probably occurred in the early 830s under Prince Margraviate I, who was the first known Moravian ruler. Margraviate and his successor, Rastislav, who ruled from 846 to 870, initially acknowledged the suzerainty of the Carolingian monarchs, but the fight for independence caused a series of armed conflicts with East Francia beginning in the 840s. Moravia reached its largest territorial extent under Svatopluk I, who ruled from 870 to 894, and who was occasionally styled as king in contemporaneous sources. Although the borders of his empire cannot be exactly determined, he controlled the core territories of Moravia as well as other neighboring regions, including Bohemia, most of Slovakia and parts of Slovenia, Hungary, Poland and Ukraine, for some periods of his reign. Separatism and internal conflicts emerging after Svatopluk's death contributed to the fall of Moravia, which was overrun by the Hungarians. The exact date of Moravia's collapse is unknown, but it occurred between 902 and 907. Moravia experienced significant cultural development under Prince Rastislav with the arrival in 863 of the mission of Saints Cyril and Methodius. Rastislav had asked the Byzantine emperor to send a teacher to introduce literacy and a legal system to Great Moravia. The brothers Cyril and Methodius introduced a system of writing and Slavonic liturgy, the latter eventually formally approved by Pope Adrian II. The Glagolitic script was invented by Cyril himself, and the language he used for his translations of holy scripts and his original literary creation was based on the Slavic dialect he and his brother Methodius knew from the native Thessaloniki. The language, termed Old Church Slavonic, was the direct ancestral language for Macedonian and Bulgarian, and therefore also referred to as Old Bulgarian. Later, the disciples of Cyril and Methodius were expelled from Great Moravia by King Svatopluk I, arriving in the First Bulgarian Empire. The disciples continued the Cyrillo-Methodian mission, continued with the creation of a successor to Glagolitic, called Cyrillic. The Cyrillic script and translations of the liturgy were disseminated to other Slavic countries, particularly in the Balkans and Kievan Rus, charting a new path in their cultural development. Name. The meaning of the name has been subject to debate. The designation, Great Moravia, Megal Moravia in Greek, stems from the work De Administrando Imperia written by the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII Porphyrogenitos around 950. The emperor only used the adjective megal in connection with the polity when referring to events that occurred after its fall. implying that it should rather be translated as old instead of great. According to a third theory, the Megal adjective refers to a territory located beyond the borders of the Byzantine Empire. Finally, the historian Lubomir Havlik writes that Byzantine scholars used this adjective when referring to homelands of nomadic peoples, as demonstrated by the term Great Bulgaria. Morava is the Czech and Slovak name for both the river and the country and is called March in German. As the territory was inhabited by Germans before the Slavs settled there, the name is probably of Germanic origin, with the ending ava coming from the Germanic ahwa. The root Mor might be connected with other Indo-European words with the meaning of water, humidity. Lacosi is Belgrade, in which is the tower of the Holy and Great Constantine, the emperor. Then, again, at the running back of the river, is the renowned Sirmium by name. A journey of 2 days from Belgrade, and beyond lies Great Moravia, the unbaptized, which they have blotted out, but over which in former days used to rule. Such of the landmarks and names along the Danube River. The work of Porphyrogenitos is the only nearly contemporaneous source using the adjective great in connection with Moravia. Other documents from the 9th and 10th centuries never used the term in this context. Instead they mention the polity as Moravian realm, or realm of Moravians, simply Moravia. Also regnem sclavorum or alternate regnum Rastizia regnum Zuenchabaldi, territory. Traditional view. According to most historians, the core territories of Moravia were located in the valley of the river Morava in present-day Czech Republic and Slovakia. Archaeological findings of large early medieval fortresses and the significant cluster of settlements growing around them suggest that an important center of power emerged in this region in the 9th century. Early sources also substantiate the traditional view. These Marora have to the west of them the Thuringas and some Bohemas and half the Beguer, and south them on the other side of the Danube River is the land Karenda extending south as far as the mountains called the Alps. To the east of the land Karenda, beyond the uninhabited district, is the land of the Bulgar, and east of that is the land of Greeks. To the east of the land of Marora is the land of the Vistula, and east of that are those Dacia who were formerly Goths. The borders of Moravia cannot exactly be determined because of the lack of accurate, contemporaneous sources. For instance, the monks writing the Annals of Fulda in the 9th century obviously had limited knowledge of the geography of distant regions of Central Europe. Furthermore, Moravian monarchs adopted an expansionist policy in the 830s, thus the borders of the realm often changed. Moravia reached the peak of its territorial expansion under Svatopluk I. Lesser Poland, Pannonia, and other regions were forced to accept, at least formally and often only for a short period, his suzerainty. However, according to archaeologist B.E. Acute-Lame Close-Soaked, the commentators of Moseberg in Pannonia was never part of Moravia. Neither archaeological finds nor written sources substantiate the traditional view of the permanent annexation of huge territories in his reign. Further theories. In 1784, Slovak historian Juraj Sklina refused the traditional view on the location of Moravia and placed its core region to the region of Sirmium, stating that it spread from that centrum to the north to present-day Slovakia, Moravia and Bohemia. Similarly, in the 1820s, Friedrich Blumenberger placed Great Moravia to the south on the borders of Pannonia and Moesia. The views remained isolated until 1970s, when Imre Bober again published a theory that Moravia's core territory must have been located around Sirmium, near the river Great Morava. Petr Puspokinegi proposed the existence of two Moravias, a Great Moravia at the southern Morava River in present-day Serbia, and another Moravia on the northern Morava River in present-day Czech Republic. Similar theory was published also by Torusenga. In the 1990s, southern thesis was further developed by Charles Bolus, who writes that Moravia emerged in the region of the confluences of the Drava, Sava, Drinat, Tisiza, and southern Morava rivers with the Danube. Bolus emphasizes that the orientation of the Frankish Marcher organization was focused on the southeast territories, which also supports Great Moravia's southern position. Martin Eggers suggests that original location of Moravia was centered around modern Banat at the confluence of the rivers Tisiza and Mureș, with further expansions including expansion to the territories in present-day Czech Republic and Slovakia.